Romania mega drills on Europe's eastern flank.
Russia spent a decade trying to turn the Black Sea into a pressure cooker. Romania just installed the escape valve. Not a speech, not a parade, a route. A route that keeps Ukraine supplied, pulls Moldova closer, and makes Russia's southern squeeze plan a lot harder to execute. Because if Moscow's play is simple, choke the supply, isolate the weak neighbor, threaten Odessa from the coast, Romania's reply is even simpler. Try it, we'll move around you. And the scary part for Russia is this: Romania isn't doing this with vibes. It's doing it with Abrams, Patriots, F-16 fleets, F-35 contracts, drones, electronic warfare, and highways built for armor. This is the kind of change that doesn't trend on day one. It trends when someone tries to escalate and realizes the board isn't the same board anymore. So let me show you the exact mechanism that just got worse for Moscow, and why Romania is suddenly the country you cannot ignore. Russia loves predictability. One main pipeline, one main artery, one main place to threaten. For most of this war, the northern route through Poland has been the famous lifeline. Effective? Yes. Also obvious. Now, Romania is building something that is basically NATO saying, we are not living on one artery anymore. And when you stop being a one-route system, you stop being easy to intimidate. That's the first consequence. Russia can scream at one choke point all day, and the flow can keep moving. Okay, now you're wondering, what gives Romania the muscle to make that real? That's where the hardware comes in. Romania looked at the region and made a decision that changes everything. It's not going to be the soft seam on NATO's eastern edge, so the land piece gets rebuilt first. 54 M1A2 Abrams SEPV-3 tanks from the United States. That's not we bought some tanks. That's we're building the kind of armored formations that can actually operate inside NATO's high-intensity planning. Abrams changes the tempo Romania can fight at. It changes what it can hold. It changes what it can counterattack. And here's the hidden part. Heavy armor is not just a battlefield tool. It's a political signal that says, if this gets ugly, we can absorb pressure without collapsing. Russia hates that, because pressure only works when the target looks brittle. But armor alone doesn't stop the modern threat. The modern threat comes from above. So Romania goes up next. Romania locks in around 50 F-16 fighters from European partners. Immediate upgrade, immediate interoperability, then the real move. 32 F-35 fighters on contract. Let me translate what that means in normal human language. F-35 turns Romania into part of NATO's nervous system. It's not just a jet, it's a sensor network in the sky. It collects the picture, it shares the picture. It shrinks Russia's ability to hide movements over the Black Sea and around Crimea. That reduces the one thing Russia uses constantly: ambiguity. When ambiguity dies, options die with it. And when your options shrink, you start relying on riskier moves. That's escalation territory, which means Romania's air power isn't just defense, it's pressure on Russian planning cycles. Now, if you're Russia, you don't just ask, can we fly? You ask, can we fly without being tracked, targeted, and timed? Romania is building a no zone, and that leads into the next mechanism, because jets need something on the ground to protect the whole system. Patriots, high-altitude intercept, long-range coverage, but the real story is the layering. Romania is expanding short-range air defense, radar coverage, and counter-drone capacity. So instead of one bubble you can overwhelm, you get a stack. One layer catches aircraft and missiles at distance, another layer catches what slips through, then the close layer deals with drones and low flyers trying to sneak into gaps. Here's why that matters for Russia specifically. Russian pressure in the region leans hard on standoff attacks. Missiles, drones, saturation. When a target builds layers, the cost of every strike goes up. More missiles required, more drones required, more exposure, more failure. That doesn't just defend Romania, it also protects the corridor Romania is building. Which brings us to the next piece that makes modern armies actually work: drones and electronic warfare. Tanks and jets are the thumbnails. Drones and electronic warfare are the reality. Romania integrates Bayraktar TB2s and other unmanned systems into core force structure: surveillance, target finding, strike coordination. At the same time, electronic warfare platforms expand the ability to jam, disrupt, and blind enemy systems. Here's the mechanic. Drones find it, EW confuses it, artillery and aviation finish it. That loop is how modern battlefields delete expensive platforms. So Romania isn't just buying equipment, it's building a kill chain. And when Romania builds a kill chain along the Black Sea and near the Moldova axis, Russia has to assume any movement can be observed, tagged, and punished faster than before. Now we hit the part that actually decides wars, not who owns the gear. Who moves the gear? This is the most overlooked weapon in Europe right now. Roads that can take tanks, bridges that can take weight, rail corridors that can surge equipment. Romania updates its military mobility strategy and ties civilian infrastructure directly to NATO operations. That means highways and bridges aren't just economic projects anymore. They're war capacity. This is where Russia's headache gets worse, because Russia can't bomb a concept. Russia can't sanction a bridge into being weaker. Once the infrastructure exists, it exists. And infrastructure creates momentum, it creates speed, it creates reinforcement timelines that Moscow cannot easily predict or stop. This is how you build a corridor that survives pressure, which is exactly what Romania is doing next. Look at the line. Greece, Bulgaria, Romania, then Moldova, then Ukraine. This is the southern backbone of a NATO logistics space. Not a fantasy highway with one ribbon cutting. A functioning corridor made of roads, rail, hubs, and border throughput. For most of the war, the Northern Pipeline has carried the reputation. This southern route carries something different. Resilience. If you can push equipment through Romania, you can support Ukraine's rear without relying on a single direction. And Moldova, this is the key point, stops being a lonely buffer. It becomes a transit node. That's not just logistics, that's geopolitics. Because Russia's leverage over Moldova has always depended on keeping it isolated, nervous, and strategically alone. A connected Moldova becomes harder to intimidate. It starts acting differently. Its politics harden. Its options expand, and Moscow's old playbook starts returning diminishing returns. Now we've got the corridor. We've got the hardware. We've got the mobility. So the obvious question is, who coordinates the flow when this scales up? That's where Romania's 2026 move turns from important into system changing. In 2026, Romania isn't just a country with new kit. It becomes a control point, a NATO-coordinated logistics hub designed to expand the flow of weapons into Ukraine and reduce dependence on the northern artery. And once that goes live, Russia loses something it has relied on for years: the ability to threaten one pipeline and spook the entire system. Because when you add a second heart, you don't just pump more, you survive hits. And that's the part Moscow cannot spin away. Here's where this stops being theory. In 2026, a NATO-coordinated logistics center in Romania becomes operational. Not symbolic, operational. Its job is simple: receive, organize, and push military equipment into Ukraine at scale. Now let's put numbers on the table. In 2025 alone, roughly 220,000 tons of military supplies moved into Ukraine. Thousands of trucks, hundreds of aircraft, industrial volume. That's not aid parcels, that's supply chain warfare. Now imagine that volume no longer depending primarily on one northern pipeline. Add Romania as a second fully coordinated artery. You don't just increase flow, you increase survivability. From Moscow's perspective, this is what just got worse. Before threatening one corridor created strategic anxiety. Now, even if pressure rises somewhere else, the southern route keeps pushing. That kills a form of leverage Russia has leaned on for years. And leverage is everything in long wars. When your opponent can absorb pressure and keep operating, your options narrow. And when options narrow, escalation becomes the only dramatic tool left, which is dangerous. But we're not done, because the location of this hub is what makes it uncomfortable. Think about geography. From Romania into southern Ukraine is shorter, closer, more direct to Odessa's axis. That matters, because southern Ukraine has always been the sensitive flank. If Russia ever tries to push west along the coast, pressure Odessa, or destabilize the region near Moldova, logistics depth becomes everything. With the Romanian-backed corridor feeding the rear, southern Ukraine doesn't collapse inward under stress. It stays supplied, it stays reinforced. And here's the key point. This is not about Romanian troops crossing borders. This is about Ukrainian endurance. Endurance wins long wars. If Russia cannot create a clean isolation scenario in the south, the campaign math changes. Every kilometer gained costs more. Every push west carries more risk. And the window for a dramatic coastal play narrows. That's consequence number 2 for Moscow. Now let's step into something even more uncomfortable for the Kremlin: Transnistria. Transnistria has been Moscow's quiet insurance policy inside Moldova. Russian troops stationed there, old ammunition depots, political influence. For years, this created ambiguity and pressure. But ambiguity only works when reinforcement is possible. Now imagine Moldova increasingly tied into a Romanian-aligned logistics ecosystem. Infrastructure improving west of Transnistria, air defense and air power dominating the adjacent airspace. If tension spikes, Transnistria becomes more exposed, not more powerful. It turns into a pocket, a fixed position surrounded by a country that is no longer strategically alone. That flips the psychological script. Instead of being a threat node, it risks becoming a vulnerability. And vulnerability changes calculations. Because now Russia must ask, if something destabilizes here, can we actually escalate without overextending? That question alone reduces confidence, and reduced confidence reduces boldness. Now let's widen the lens again. Because the Black Sea is where this entire dynamic either holds or fractures. Russia has relied on Crimea as a launch pad, missiles, aircraft, naval pressure. The Western Black Sea has been a zone of tension. Romania's modernization shifts that environment. Layered air defense along the coast, expanded radar coverage, increased coordination with Turkey and Bulgaria, more integrated surveillance. That doesn't remove Russian naval capability, but it complicates freedom of movement. Naval operations depend on predictability. When air defense coverage overlaps and sensor grids tighten, movement becomes calculated. Calculated movement slows tempo, and tempo matters in maritime strategy. If Russia can't operate comfortably west of Crimea, it must concentrate elsewhere. Concentration creates exposure, exposure creates risk, and risk alters posture. But there's another dimension here most people overlook: energy. Romania is on track to become a major gas producer in the Black Sea region around 2027. Offshore fields, export capacity, European energy diversification. Now connect that to security. If Romania becomes critical to EU energy supply, protecting its offshore infrastructure becomes a shared European interest. That means more political backing, more defense integration, more urgency if threats appear. So destabilizing the Western Black Sea isn't just about Romania anymore. It touches European energy resilience. That multiplies the stakes, and higher stakes draw faster responses, which means Moscow can't treat that zone as a low-cost pressure point. Now zoom out again, because what Romania has really done isn't flashy, it's structural. Inside NATO, influence isn't just about rhetoric, it's about utility. Romania is becoming structurally useful, a staging ground, a logistics hub, a southern artery, an energy anchor. When a country becomes indispensable to multiple alliance functions, its strategic weight increases. That affects funding decisions, force deployments, planning priorities. Over time, that compounds, which means Romania's security concerns get faster attention. Its flank gets more investment, its integration deepens, and that deepening reinforces the entire system. Now imagine you're Russia looking west. You don't just see Romania, you see a node tied into a network. And networks are harder to intimidate than isolated states. But here's the psychological layer that often gets missed. If Moldova feels backed, it negotiates differently. If Ukraine feels southern depth, it plans differently. If NATO planners see redundancy, they commit differently. Confidence spreads, investment follows confidence, coordination accelerates. Meanwhile, if Russia sees fewer weak seams on the Western arc, its risk calculus tightens. Not because of one purchase, not because of one speech, because the pattern shifts, and patterns are what military planners obsess over. Romania has altered the pattern. And altered patterns force adaptation. Now we're at the real question. Is this a moment or is it a trajectory? Here's the final piece. This isn't Romania peaking. It's Romania accelerating. Abrams entering service. F-16s operational now. F-35s coming. Air defense layering thickening. Military mobility infrastructure expanding. Logistics hub scaling. Black Sea energy projects advancing. None of these alone break the balance. Together, over time, they bend it. And that's what makes this uncomfortable for Moscow. Because Russia doesn't just face Ukraine. It faces a southern flank that is becoming heavier, faster, harder to isolate, and harder to intimidate. The old Western Black Sea equation relied on ambiguity, gray zones, choke points, and leverage. Romania is quietly reducing all four. Less ambiguity with better sensors. Fewer gray zones with Moldova connected. Fewer choke points with dual supply arteries. Less leverage when pressure doesn't stop the flow. That's not dramatic. That's durable. And durable systems win long confrontations. So when we say Romania shocked the world, again, it's not because of one purchase. It's because Romania moved from background geography to structural hinge. A hinge between the Balkans and Ukraine, between NATO's southern flank and the Black Sea, between energy security and military posture. And once you become the hinge, you can't be ignored. If tension rises in Moldova, Romania matters. If pressure builds near Odessa, Romania matters. If the Black Sea tightens, Romania matters. That's the shift. Not noise, not headlines, a reinforced map. And in geopolitics, reinforced maps are the kind that redraw futures quietly, until someone tests them. If you've made it this far, you already see it. The southern flank isn't soft anymore. And the next escalation in Eastern Europe, it won't be happening in a vacuum. Subscribe if you want the next breakdown, because this region is moving fast, and the countries people underestimate are the ones changing the game first.